All right, hello wine drinking people. We are back, and it's time for what I drank yesterday. Finishing up last week's events, the 2006 Brunello di Montalcino tasting, the first of many, I'm sure, from this great vintage, 2006. Looks to be a legendary vintage from Montalcino, and the wines already are held back 5 years before their release, but in a great vintage, it takes 10 or 15 years after the release for these wines to become fully mature. Like this 1994, the Old Dog, which showed beautifully again, not even a great vintage, but a great producer. We had viniferous 3 producers on the table, and then a couple of other guys in the lineup. Argiano, one of the big guys, and then this new producer. This is the first time that I have had wines from them, Camigliano, and you know, for me, this was a nice way to start the night out. It was definitely a lighter style Brunello, and drinking pretty forward, and you know, showed some nice spice, some nice earthy notes, a hint of that black tar and leather, but some nice wild strawberry fruit, and pretty nice hint of spice on the finish, nice freshness. Like I said, a little bit light, but for 47 bucks, hey, one of the best values I've had from the 06 vintage. All right, the Canalicchio di Sopra, one of the Old Dogs. This is one of the first wineries to form in the 60s in Montalcino. You know, there was like really 2 waves. Well, the first wave was Beyond Santi. That was back 150 years ago, 120 years ago, sorry. But, you know, the second wave didn't come until the 60s. So it's not until recently, well, the third wave that came, which is Castello Romatorio in the 80s, that things really started to get going here in Montalcino. Today there's like 320 different producers in Montalcino. That number up about 100 from just a few years ago. So things are happening rapidly here, but a lot of high quality wine. You don't find much stuff with Brunello di Montalcino on it that is not outstanding in quality, especially in a vintage like 06. And all these producers we knew intimately. Canalicchio, we've done. This is a wine I buy every year, even in off vintages. I think I had the 2002 on the shelf, which was a light wine, but you know, traditional and just what you'd expect from a great producer like Canalicchio di Sopra. But tonight we had 2006, and this Canalicchio di Sopra showed that classic dried herb and kind of sour red cherry note that you get out of Brunello di Montalcino. Some nice licorice spice, a hint of that tar and dark spices there. Pretty classic Brunello on the nose. And we opened these wines up at about noon because they really did need some time to open up. The first time I had the 06s a few months ago, I opened them up and I tasted them the next day. They were so big the first day I opened them, I didn't even bother to take notes on them. But these wines were quite a bit more open this time, and just for, you know, about 8 hours. So really nice. The 2006 Argiano, one of the wines of the night. Really lovely perfume and oak spice on this wine. Definitely you could tell this is new style Brunello di Montalcino, but really pleasing, really nice. Firm tannins. This wine pretty big, but still very polished. And even, you know, one of the more drinkable of the Brunellos, even how big it was. Really nice bottle. A lot of people's favorite of the night, or one of their favorites, was the Argiano. Castello di Romatorio. All right, this one had that lovely, fresh, wild strawberry fruit that you get on the nose. Distinct Tuscan terroir, a little bit of that porcini mushroom and leather saddle nuance, but really nice, bright red berry fruit showing on the tongue. Firm tannins and a long finish. This is a big wine. Needs time like most of these 2006s, but lovely minerality in this wine also. Really nice. The Val di Cava 06. This is usually one of the biggest and it takes the longest to open up of all the Brunellos, but this one was showing pretty nice too. It had this intense nose of crushed raspberry and wild strawberry, kind of jammy with raw meat and kind of fine herbs thrown in there. Big and chewy on the tongue with dry, chalky tannins though, and needs a bit of time to open up, but has everything in its place. Really nice bottle of Brunello, this 06 Val di Cava. All right, next up we served a few older wines to show what happens to Brunello as it ages. And the 05 vintage of Castello Romatorio, you know, 05 and 06, very different. 05 is very forward. If you put these two on the table, for most people would choose the 2005, and those are the wines you want to drink today. This wine had a nice amount of that earth, again, that porcini mushroom, red berry, that sour cherry fruits. You know, have a big and chewy approach on the tongue, but really ripe and round tannins. Really drinking nicely, some bright acidity thrown in there. Really nice balanced wine. And like I said, you don't need to wait forever for these 2005s. The 99 Val di Cava, one of the wines of the night. You know, this wine's starting to drink in its peak years. Even though, you know, Vincenzo will tell you, I guarantee my wine for your entire life. He says his wines will outlive you, his guarantee. And the 99 definitely still had some legs here, some lovely dark spice, a little hint of that tar, and still big tannin showing up on the finish. All right, next up, the 1994 Canalicchio di Sopra. And this wine is not from a great vintage, as I mentioned before, but this wine, drinking at its peak, soft, still had some of that lovely dried tobacco, dark tar kind of spice nuance to it, and really nice soft tannins, drinking beautifully. The 1994 Canalicchio di Sopra, one of my picks for wine of the night. And hey, we still have some available in the store. All right, that's what I had to drink yesterday, folks. I'm your host, Andrew Lamposoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.